So, you know my name, it's Ted Rubin. I'm at Ted Rubin on Twitter, tedrubin.com, and I'm the Chief Social Marketing Officer for a company called Collective Bias. And the reason I mention that is that the beauty of being at a place like Collective Bias and working with a guy like John Andrews is I get to do what I really love to do. And a lot of you guys have heard me talk about relationships. Today I'm going to talk about moments, but understand my head is like a Twitter feed, so stuff's going through it constantly. I tend to change direction. If I go off in a direction you don't like, just pull me back or let me go. So just real quick, I want to get everybody here to give it up for Tiffany, who's on the stage a little while ago, because Tiffany really talked about moments and how we make that a big part of our lives and how it affects us. And where I come from about this is something you may or may not know about me. I'm a divorced dad, and I'm a divorced dad right now of teenage daughters. We're not really going to go there because you guys just don't want to hear about that part of it. But at one time they were young, and I've watched them progress, and they've had this major effect on my life. And I think part of that is being a divorced dad because we get a very unique experience. We relate to them differently. We do things we might not have otherwise done simply because of division of time and effort and things that we all do in our lives. And I've come to I'm very close to my daughters, or I try to be, and I've had a lot of challenges in that respect. So I look really closely at them, and what I've discovered is what they can bring to our daily lives. Now here, we've all heard a lot about what we can do for kids and the way we can make kids' lives better, and there's been speakers up here about charities and relating to our children and listening to our children. I want to talk about what our kids can do for us and how that's created this whole concept of moments for me. So, you know, what we can get from our children. And most of us don't look at them as closely as we should. And again, because of challenges I've had, I've spent a lot of time looking at my kids, figuring out how I can relate to them, what they do, what's important about what they do, and what it can bring to us as in our personal brands and our personal lives, and even to us as marketers into brands. So, you know, let's think about kids for a moment and what they do that makes them special. Okay, kids naturally default to happy. Okay, how many of us do that? We don't default to happy. We analyze things, we look at things. Kids, when they first walk in a room, they're happy. They make friends, right? Look at all you guys here. Everyone's sitting kind of separate. You guys, sometimes you might go outside and speak to people, but kids walk in a room and they go, "Hi, my name's Ted, I want to be your friend. What's your name?" These are things that we can do as individuals and as brands that can really bring someone. Kids explore. Kids are open to conversation, to ideas. They're creative. Okay, they do wonderful things. They play. We have to play more. Let's think about this. You know, I want to start a revolution with the companies we work for. Some of us do this at home. But let's bring back kids' creativity into our lives. Now, I was recently at a conference and I heard a really amazing thing. How many people in this room, please raise your hands if you feel this, think that you are great artists and that you draw great? Raise your hands. Okay, I see maybe 3 or 4 people, everybody here. You ask that question in a room full of children, every hand goes up. Every single one. Because they're born with that feeling that they're good, that they can do good, that they're great drawers. And what happens to us as we grow up? We lose that. Those are moments. Those are kids, they get in the moment. They're in the playground. They remember what happened. I want us to start thinking about creating those moments. So I have these special times. Again, being a divorced dad, I spend less time with my kids. I don't have that opportunity to be around every night they come home from school, to see them every morning before they go. And this really hurt me. And I went to court to fight to get more time, and I didn't get it. So I realized the way we often do as individuals, as brands, we can't get all that attention we always want from our customers, from consumers, from our kids. So what do we have to do? We have to make ourselves accessible and create those moments. But more importantly than create them, because we all have them, is recognize them when they're happening. So I recently went away with my daughters, and I wanted to create a special trip, so I took them to Club Med in Mexico. And of course, again, they're 15 and 17. They don't want to be with Dad. You know, I'm like the last guy they want to be with. I get there and I'm like, "Come on, let's go explore this place." And they're like, "Come on, we're going to our room." But what I did was, instead of what I would do in the past, which would be impose myself on them, the way many marketers do on their customers, is I stepped back and I just paid attention and I watched what they were doing. I observed them. I listened. And I found my moments. So my little one loves to do stuff. My older one is 17-year-old, getting ready to apply to college, just unhappy. Basically in that angry 17-year-old girl stage that some of us might know about. And my little one just wants to go and have fun, so she'd be begging her to go in the water, and I would just watch, and she gets her to go out there. My older daughter's there for 2 minutes, comes back in, but I was right there, and I jump in because my little one doesn't want to come out, and now it's like by default, she's stuck out there with me. And she just let the moment happen. And all of a sudden, I heard things I hadn't heard forever. I heard about boys. I heard about the code names they use for them. And I just let myself be a part of the moment. But then beyond that, I recognized it was happening, and I used that to move on to my next opportunity for a moment. And again, I was out with my daughter recently, and my older one just said, I'm not coming with you tonight. So now the old me, the brand marketer who insists, no, read my email. See what I'm doing. Look at my post on Facebook. I said, great, don't come. I'm going to have an opportunity to be with my 15-year-old alone, where once again she might have an opportunity to share with me. And again, I had one of these moments with her. So what I'm doing is I try to take these things and I want to bring them into my brand world. I want to bring them into my life. I want to teach brands and people how to recognize those moments, but more importantly, how to create them. So let's talk about creativity for a moment and how we can do that. You guys got to push back. You got to push back on your spouses. You got to push back on the companies you work for, and you have to say, I want to be creative. Let me daydream. Let me doodle when I'm at work. Okay, do the things that create moments for you, that put things in your head. Remember something. Look at your boss and say, a brand is what a company does. A reputation is what people remember. When you do things, when you create a format for these things to happen, this is a reputation. This is what will enable you to take it to the next stage, to build that, what is the brass ring of marketing? It's the emotional connection. So that's why all these things like Pinterest and Instagram are evolving so quickly, because they're images. I don't really remember who it was up here, but they were talking about what the effect an image can have. Well, images and moments are all very much the same thing. They're things that we internalize and that we bring together. So think about that, and think about being more like kids, because watch them. See how they interact naturally, how happy they are, and how smart you can get from that. That's what will have a major, major effect. So let's talk about a couple of ways you do that. Learn to look people in the eye digitally. Okay, we all reach out, we use these mediums, we write things, but we don't even get to know who people are. Look at their page, see what their bio is, make a mention of their name when you talk to them. Just like you do in person. How do you pay attention to somebody when you're with them? You look at them, you look them in the eye. You don't look around and see what else is going on. Pay attention to these people. Now here's another thing for you. Anybody know what this is? Somebody want to shout it out? It's an iPhone, right? What's the biggest part of the word iPhone? Phone. This thing has an amazing app. Have you guys heard about the new app? You can dial something and hear somebody's voice on it. It's fucking amazing. Okay, and you can have a real conversation. You can hear how they feel, you can hear them laugh, you can hear them cry, you can hear if they get angry. There's no misconceptions, there's not emoticons and small little things. You actually hear their voice. So I'm going to challenge you guys. Pick up this phone every day and call someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Touch their lives. Speak to them. Hear what they have to say. Now you might say, how can you scale that, right? How can you scale interactions? But understand that these things scale because of the way people listen and know. You build a reputation for communicating with people, people will write about it, tweet about it, post about it, even make pictures about it on Pinterest with sayings. And then everybody else will participate vicariously through those small interactions you have. So people will talk all the time. They'll say, Ted Rubin called me today. When they tweet that, everybody else is hearing it. The people that didn't speak to me, they know that they might get the next call, or they can call, because I've gotten calls saying, you're my call. And people will call, and I give out my phone number on Twitter all the time. And people write back, do you realize you just sent that out as an @ not as a DM? Yes, I do. Everybody here, it's 917-613-1947. Pick up the phone and call me anytime. And let me tell you my favorite thing that kids do. You want to make your day better? You want to figure out a way to make yourself smile? skip. Okay? Everybody get up and skip. No matter how you feel, you cannot be unhappy if you skip. I had 2 little girls on my hands. They were 5 and 7. I was alone as a dad. They'd be bickering and fighting with each other. And what did I do? I grabbed their hands and I skipped and it all stopped. I said, oh my God, this is amazing. So I try to skip every day, and if you can make your customers and your consumers and the people you reach out to every day, you can make them skip in their minds, you will own that emotional connection, and you will make yourself feel good. So when you leave here today, don't only pick up the phone and make that call, but skip out of the room. Thank you very much.